Hello everyone, this is my leadership case study TED Talk on Jane Goodall. So some background on Jane Goodall. She was born in Hampstead, England in the year 1934. She's been married twice. Her first husband and her got a divorce, and her second husband passed away from cancer, and she's left with one child named Hugo. And as a child, instead of having a teddy bear, she had a chimpanzee, which when you read a lot about her, she says that this started her early love for animals. So some of her career and her accomplishments thus far, a lot of people know of Jane Goodall. She's a world famous primatologist and scientist. Her best known work is her over 55-year-long study of chimpanzee families and their social interactions in the Gembe Stream National Park in Tanzania, Africa. She set forth at age 26 in the year 1960, and she traveled from England to Tanzania with very little supplies, literally like only a notebook and binoculars, very little equipment, in order to study wild chimpanzees because they were in such remote areas in Africa that most people didn't know anything about them or very much. Also, she founded the Jane Goodall Institute in 1977. This is in order to help protect chimpanzees and their habitats, and support communities and youth programs in Africa, in terms of providing families and youth with jobs, source of food, source of water, education, living supplies, hygiene, things like that. She's also a major activist against medical testing on animals and animal cruelty, especially with using primates such as chimpanzees in medical studies and anything else regarding that. As a public image, in terms of conservation, she's one of the main people that comes to most people's minds when they're thinking of major people in that industry. She's inspired many women to join the fields of primatology and conservation because at the time when she joined into these fields, women were not very well represented. It was a heavily male-favored field, and so she's kind of inspired and led the way for females to join these fields of work and study. She's also founded her Roots and Shoots youth program in 1991. This you can read a lot about on her website. This is something that she's very proud of and really promotes, and is a youth program, like I said, in order to help young people foster and sort of gain an appreciation for wildlife and conservation and basically everything in the natural world around us, in order to help, foster these kids into becoming the future conservation and wildlife leaders and scientists and everything, protecting, the wild and conservation and making sure that we have these animals and their habitats for generations to come for everyone to enjoy. And also she's the subject of over 25 books and over 40 movies. These are some of the examples of her leadership and things that we've talked about in class thus far, that I thought she was a really good example of. First would be her crisis leadership, by acting and supporting chimpanzee conservation in order to help put an end to the slaughter and tragedy that chimps face in the wild today. Chimpanzees are, currently not in a good status. They're listed as endangered by the International Union of Conservation of Natural Resources. and they currently face many problems in the wild, such as the pet trade, where a group of adult chimpanzees will be discovered by poachers, and they will either restrain or most of the time kill the adults and use the infant chimpanzees to be sold as pets in the pet trade, on the black market, as well as the bushmeat trade, where they will actually kill the chimpanzees, the entire troop, and use the meat as a low cost source of protein for either locals or international use. A lot of Asian cultures are really favoring bushmeat, especially over farmed grown meat such as like pork, beef, chicken. Also, because we are so genetically similar, they are susceptible to the same diseases as us. So diseases that we can contract, they can also get and can end up wiping out entire populations. And she's doing a lot in order to help protect them and conserve them. She's also overcome adversity. When she set forth in 1960 to help and study chimpanzees, she really didn't have any like formal training in terms of conducting research. So she went and trusted her own gut and mind when it came to how she was going to do things. She did a lot of things that weren't common practice, such as naming the animals. Most of the time it was common practice to just give them a number in order to keep out emotion and attachment to the animals, and just make it more blunt and less just basically keeping emotion out of the process. And yeah, just some of the things that she did were considered unorthodox, and in terms of her findings, also she thought that she discovered that chimpanzees also had the same kind of emotions, intelligence similar to ours, and at the time being, primates were said to not have emotions. They couldn't feel or think the same way that humans did. And she proved this to be true, but a lot of her peers at the time discredited her work and writ it off. But she, stuck to her guns and really just proved everyone wrong by, keeping true to herself and, never giving up in what she believed and how she liked to run and conduct things. And then also my final example is her unexpected leadership. She's become a worldwide figure and role model for her efforts in conservation and animal rights across the globe. And this isn't anything that she really expected to do when she set out on her study. From my reading and research, it just kind of came to her and happened. But she's really stepped into a role that so many people admire and have gained inspiration from, and have, helped so many people and animals too all over the globe. So, and then finally, why I chose Jane Goodall for this TED Talk was because I'm also entering the field of zoology and working to become a zookeeper currently. Currently, I'm a primate behavior intern at the Toledo Zoo, and I just admire her as a role model, and she's just a really great person and has done a lot in order to help animals in conservation across the globe. So, and is something to, aspire to be someday. So thank you everyone for watching. Have a good day.